Hey, this is Alex from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. To see more videos like this from the Good Old Boys, hit subscribe and support this independent podcast.
The way that we were drafting on this, it was a 14 round draft on this. Single QB, two running backs, two wide receivers, one tight end, one flex, one kicker, one defense, special team. So a pretty standardized league for a starting roster, and then a few bench spots on top of that one there as well. So pretty standardized draft, right? We tried to make it as close as we could to what most folks are going to see and going to encounter in their in the draft room that night. And we based all of this stuff off of a half point PPR scoring, right? And part of the reason we do half point PPR scoring is one, we base all of our rankings off of a half point PPR. And two, it kind of lands right in the middle in between the standard scoring and full point PPR scoring. And you can kind of adjust back and forth and really, see how some of that would shift and look and work based on your league there. But this will give you kind of the middle ground, and you can adjust as you need if you're a full PPR or a standard scoring league there. I took the 103. So this one here, I have been drafting a whole lot of kind of wide receiver early off and kind of letting the running backs fall to me as they will. But in this one here, Christian McCaffrey was sitting there at the 103, and I said, okay, let's go ahead and do that one. So kind of a little bit of a hero RB type of strategy almost with this one. So when we were going through that, Christian McCaffrey at the 301, Chris Olave took him in the second round. Really liked that one. Rounded that off with Calvin Ridley. So my wide receivers there, I felt like I've got two guys that could both get up into wide receiver one territory when it's all said and done. And even at worst, I'm dealing with two guys that are high end wide receiver twos on their floors there. So felt incredibly good about that. DJ Moore is the third, right, to back that one up, right? A very solid wide receiver two that again has some potential and has some upside, especially some great weeks there. The guy doing the graphics made a mistake on this one, putting James Cook here at the 503. It was James Conner that went at the 503 to kind of round out the my second starting running back there. Then I took Tyler Lockett, again adding more depth on that wide receiver look there, and then went James Cook here in the seventh. Pulled the trigger on the first tight end, my first tight end here in the eighth with David Njoku. Followed that up with Kirk Cousins, and then just some depth play here when looking at Algier, Tyler Higbee, and then went Justin Tucker, the Dolphins defense, and then Jordan Love in the very last round to give me some additional depth. And looking at that too, right, I can bounce back and forth and play a little bit of quarterback by committee with Cousins and Love. Jordan Love has an incredibly juicy matchups to start the first 4 weeks of the season. Absolutely loved those. Loved how those matchups are gonna kind of fall to me there. So you get Chicago, Atlanta, like those are two guys there that should be pretty good. New Orleans maybe a little bit tougher, but then Detroit, who has been a little leaky last year, and we'll see how that if they stopgap that. But absolutely kind of loved how this roster fell into place.